Hey y'all, and welcome to Political Brawl. My name is Brian, and this CNN host gets embarrassed on her own show by the Dr. Ben Carson, who might be a candidate for vice president.
So speaking of code of conduct, Donald Trump, the former president, he said last night that he loves the Ten Commandments. He says that he loves that they are in public schools and that he urges people to read them. He's holding it up as a moral code, just as you have as well. But it also seems to be a moral code that he doesn't follow. He doesn't even try to follow. Does that seem right to you?
I wonder, does it seem right that people put up codes? I was talking to a young lady a few weeks ago. She said in her school, they're having Pride Day, and everybody must agree with it, and you can be expelled if you say something contrary to it, or if you don't use the proper pronoun. I wonder if that's kind of a totalitarian attitude to take.
Well, I mean, I don't even want to get into the pride issue because I think that's a separate topic. The question was about...
It's the same kind of issue, though, isn't it?
Well, where are there laws that are forcing people to put up, I don't know, I guess, pride codes of conduct
on the
walls?
They were forcing the kids to comply with that particular,
who was
whether they believed in it or not. And I said, what if you don't believe in it? And she says, you got to keep your mouth shut.
But who are you even referring to? Are you
don't believe in it have to keep their mouth shut.
Are you talking about the government?
A 12-year-old that I was talking, no, I was talking to a 12-year-old. That was what was going on at her school.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but it seems like there's a difference between that and an entire state saying we are going to force the classrooms and teachers to put up a tenet of a particular religion up on the walls.
These people know that they are spewing misinformation. This woman knew from her body language, from the constant blinking and the way she was moving her mouth. When people do this, it doesn't just mean they're flustered. It means they have been brought up with a legitimate point. And more often than not, you have a person in their earpiece, usually a producer, trying to give a little extra orders to pivot, dismiss this. You've got to do something about this. That means these journalists know that they are lying to you and are willfully doing it. And ultimately, this goes back into this dynamic that I will continue to harp on until it changes. We have a ruling class and a dominant class. The ruling class serves the dominant class, but makes sure that the dominant class doesn't ever become the ruling class. That is ultimately world history in a nutshell. This is how feudalistic politics worked. This is why politics has been so weird in the past 20 years. Because the dominant class used to be white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. It would have been people like my parents, and technically myself. But now the ruling class, the dominant class, is rich white liberals. And so the ruling class wants to feed rich white liberals. That's why CNN spews these things that they do. Because rich white liberals are used to a certain way of thinking. Y'all, times are rough. Record inflation is still not under control. We have a president who doesn't know what planet he's on. And the Federal Reserve continues to make dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision. You can gamble on Wall Street all you want, but if you want to diversify and protect your wealth, you need to look into my friends over at Colonial Metals Group. These amazing experts understand how to keep your wealth safe and protected from the volatility of our current market. And there's even a great deal for first-time accounts. Free gold and silver-backed IRA accounts, insurance on whatever precious metals you happen to buy for 5 years, up to $7,500 worth of silver, and a nice safe for you to keep all this good stuff in. So go take a look at their website, link in the description below, or call the phone number below so you can talk personally to Paul Stone, CEO, and his amazing team of experts to protect your wealth today. And what Ben Carson is doing is he is pivoting from a ridiculous question. And I'll get to the whole part about the Ten Commandments later, but one state, Louisiana, for some reason wants to mandate the Ten Commandments have to be in schools and in certain places. That's one state. Just one. Compare that to the cultural zeitgeist where you see pride flags in your classroom. What would you rather see in your son or daughter's classroom? The Ten Commandments or a pride flag? If you said pride flag, then that means you're okay with sexuality being pushed to children. That is morally reprehensible. Children deserve to learn in an environment that is both secular and unsexual. Children should not be exposed to the religious ideology inside the school. That's not the point of an education. And the same goes for pride flags. Some children need support, but congratulations, they can have support outside of the schools. Our tax dollars are there to educate children. That's the whole point and purpose of this stuff. And yet, in the cultural zeitgeist, you have more pride flags being shown to kids than the Ten Commandments. That is the reality of the situation. And now for the Ten Commandments itself, the whole question going on here. First off, the whole point of the Ten Commandments was an attempt to bring order to chaos. The Israelite people at the time have just gotten out of Egypt, are trying to survive in Mount Sinai. They're at a breaking point. They needed laws and rules set in place to govern themselves and further understand their own religion. Moses was a genius at this, and instead of coming from a Christian point of view, I'm going to come at it from a secular point of view. He knew that these people needed more rules and regulations in order to keep their lives orderly. Living in Mount Sinai is a very difficult thing to do. It is a tough region. And so, while they were wandering in the desert, they needed more understanding of their laws, regulations, and history. And Moses provided that for them. That is the spirit of the Ten Commandments. It is not there to say, you need to obey Christianity. It should be viewed as an attempt to order yourself. That's why Jordan Peterson has 12 rules for life and arguably 12 more rules for life. It is an attempt to bring order to chaos. So that is the spirit of the Ten Commandments. What is the spirit of the pride flag? Well, it is to represent your sexuality. That's not bringing order to chaos. And one could argue it brings more chaos. I'm not going to go down that road because I know some very based gay men and even a few lesbians who actually work for Republican organizations. Seriously, we'd collapse without these people. These guys are awesome. They're great people. So no, I don't think the pride flag's degenerate. It can lead to degeneracy very easily. The whole point of that flag is to say, I am proud of who I am. That is an okay message for kids, but it's not one that they can fully grasp. A Ten Commandments lesson is, this is the right way to live. That is a good lesson for kids. But again, I don't believe religion should be in schools. So Ben Carson is out here basically trying to remind this lady that you have a cultural push on children that should never be pushed upon children. And to talk about Trump and the Ten Commandments is missing the plot entirely. So Ben Carson does a 180 on this woman. This is exactly how you need to treat the media. You cannot let them dictate the way your answer is going to be. And so she's out there basically lying to her audience. You can see it in her blinking. You probably have a producer screaming in her ear. And she's doing her best to keep her composure. And she knows what the truth is. But she also knows that she has to spin the narrative because that is why she's there. She is not there to tell you the truth. She's simply there to tell you her version of the truth and what she thinks you need to know in the world by hiding the truth from you. That is the reality of this situation. And Ben Carson, who is no spring chicken, he was stumbling through this, but he still made a great point. And that is, the Ten Commandments are more beneficial to children than a pride flag. Our schools need to be kept secular, but they also need to be unsexualized. Our children deserve that. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on Political Brawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.